Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today's our video is in part of SQL series, 15 days SQL series, day 3. So day 3 we covered with aggregation functions, group by and having clauses. So mainly in this day 3 we'll cover with two tables. So one is payment table and film table. Okay. So I will share the code in the video description how this creation of table and inserting records. Okay, so payment table already covered in the last video. So film table also covered last video, but the last video we covered some uh, where clause count and uh, distinct. So these covered, right? So these at the time I'm not using this much columns in the film table. Okay, so film table now I have increased some columns: film ID, title, description, release year, language, duration, rental date, length, replacement cost, rating. Okay, let's create this table and insert the some records. Okay, so I have created already table this one. Okay, film ID, title, description, release year, language ID, rental duration, rental date, length, replacement cost, rating. Okay, now we'll look into first aggregation functions. So generally, aggregation functions called as to aggregate the values in multiple rows to one value. So aggregation is mainly what are all the most common aggregation functions covered as sum, average, AVG, minimum, maximum, count. So these are the common aggregation functions we are using. So let's look into these aggregation functions. So how we are using called as aggregation functions are the SQL functions used to calculate a single result. Single result means multiple rows of data we are taking, then aggregate them into a single summary value. Okay, so the most common aggregation functions already we discussed it, right? Like sum. So how it is working the sum? So it adds up all the values in a column. Like how we'll write the syntax. So select a sum of amount from payment. So if I execute this one, I will get the sum of amount. So within the payment table, sum of amount I will get. So it gives the total amount of all payments. Similarly, average. So it calculates the average of all values in a column. So select AVG of amount from payment. So I will get the average. So average of payment amount. Similarly, minimum. So what is the minimum value within the amount? What is the maximum value within the payment table? And count. So number of rows. So counts the number of rows or non-null values in a column. So if you check with this select count of star from payment, so the number of rows, 30 rows are available. Okay, next. So here mainly aggregation functions are commonly used. So where we had to use this commonly, that is in reporting and analytics to summarize the data. So if you're developing any dashboard or visualization, at that time we are giving the reporting. So for example, if I give with the any sales report, okay, like total sales, calculating the total sales, average order value, or the number of transactions. So at that time, we'll use with the aggregation functions. Okay, so the aggregation functions are mainly, so these aggregation functions: sum, average, minimum, maximum, count. So what we can do, we can't do at the time of aggregation functions. So we can't do called as so like select sum of amount, payment ID from payment. So this is not good. Like payment ID we are getting, right? So this is not good while using. Okay, and no mixing possible. So the query is to be executing, okay, fine, but we can't do like this. At the time of group by, that is okay. So group by will cover later in this. Let me allow 2 minutes. Next we cover with the group by. No mixing possible. So no mixing possible called as, so select sum of amount payment ID from payment. So this way no mixing possible. So only possible with grouping. Okay. Next, multiple aggregations is possible. Okay. So how multiple aggregations are possible? So let's look into this multiple aggregations. Select, I will try to do as sum of amount. So earlier we seen only single aggregations like sum of amount or minimum amount, max amount, count of amount, like that, average amount. Now I will try to write as, so as sum of amount, comma, count of star as count, AVG of amount, like average. Okay. From which table? Payment table. So this way we will allow as multiple aggregations. Okay. So if I execute this, near underscore, okay, sum of this one minus, if I like minus, that is not working in the program. So I will get with the payment table sum of amount, count, average. So similarly you can use with minimum, maximum. Okay, like all the aggregation functions we had to use, that is called as the multiple aggregations is possible. Next we'll look into one more scenario, like select min of replacement cost comma, I will copy this column, and max of replacement column cost, comma, average of replacement cost, comma, sum of replacement cost from which table. So the table name here I am considering with the film table. Okay, from the film table I am getting with this one. So column names are missing, right? So as min, just I am for the reference purpose, just I am giving the max, and as AVG as as sum. Okay, so if I execute this, I will get this way the minimum amount, maximum amount, average, and sum. For example, average. So if you look into average, so 15.9900. So we'll take as round. So how we'll do the round? So by using round function, round off, here I will try to write as 2, open, close. So if I execute this part, okay. So here I'm getting this one 9900. Okay, but it is not applying the round. So let's look into round. I think here we can apply with the cast function. So that round function we'll see in the later sessions. For time being, we'll concentrate this one, aggregation function. So later I will cover this video. It is possible round, but we'll apply with the cast here. Some next, we'll try to see with the group by class. Okay, next to class is group by class. So what is the group by class first of all? So group by class is mainly to group the aggregations by specific columns. For example, I want payment, or also I want to, like example, we'll consider as example, like customer ID wise, I want sum of amount, or else any student ID wise, I want average of marks. Okay, customer ID wise, sum of amount, or else student ID wise, average of marks, sum of marks, minimum of marks, maximum of marks, like this. So mainly group by clause is used to group the aggregations by specific columns. So the group by clause is used to SQL to group the rows that have the same values in a specified columns into summary rows. Okay. So it is often used with aggregation functions to perform calculations on group of data. So this is the syntax of group by. So select column 1, column 2, aggregate the function column 3 like sum of amount from table name group by. So here we are applying the select clause column 1 and column 2. So the same I am applying with column 1 and column 2. Or else if you mention within group by column 1 and column 2, the same you can mention within select clause. Okay. Next, we'll try to see with one example here in this scenario. Select customer ID. I want customer ID. Okay. Customer ID wise, I want sum of amount from table name payment from payment group by customer ID. Okay, group by customer ID. So if I execute this one here, which is the error called as payment space. Okay. Now if I execute this, I will get the details called as each and every customer ID wise sum of amount. Okay. So this is the way like grouping the values. So grouping by customer ID. So the same we mentioned in the select clause. So if I am not mentioned with in the customer ID also, it will execute. But only the thing is which row is the which customer ID we don't know. So that is the reason we had to mention as this customer ID. Okay, so whatever the columns we are mentioned in the group by, those columns you can mention in the select clause. So this is the one example. And we'll look into another example. Select customer ID, or else we'll copy the above one better. I'm trying to remodify something. So in this case, so I want customer ID greater than 3. Okay. I want to group the customer IDs greater than 3 only. I want to group the customer IDs and sum of amount. Okay. Like here, we can apply with the filter also with addition to group by. So first we can apply with filter. After then we can do group by. So because of our main intention goal is customer ID greater than 3 only to group the sum of amount with customer ID. So that is the reason we can apply with the where clause. Filter the customer ID greater than 3. So where customer ID greater than 3. Okay. Then we can apply with the aggregation. So customer ID greater than 3 only we are applying with the grouping. Or also we can check with this one. I want to apply with customer ID greater than 103. Like this. Now I have customer ID 104 onwards. I'm getting the group by values. Okay. So this is the one way. And for this customer IDs, sum of amount I am getting. Okay, fine. But this is not in a proper order. I want to get in the order by. So like ascending order. So same thing apply with order by. So order by, which column I want to order by. So sum of amount, as sum of amount will give as some uh, like will give as some alias name. How I give total amount. Okay, total amount. But I want which column I want to sort, either customer ID or in total amount. So for example, if I want total amount order by, so just apply with total amount, order by total amount, like DGSC, descending order I want, for example. If I execute, I am getting the total amount as descending order. Okay. So this way we can apply with the group by. I hope group by is clear. Next, we'll move to having clause. So having clause is mainly like it is also where clause. So why we are using the where clause? To filter the records. But having clause also used with filter the records. But having clause is to filter the groupings by aggregations. So normally normal filtering is applying with where clause. But having clause is using with after grouping by. So before grouping by, we'll use with where clause. After grouping, like post grouping, we can apply with the having. So let's look into the definition. This one, the having clause is used to filter the groups of rows created by the group by clause. So it allows you to apply conditions to aggregated data similar to how the where clause filters individual rows. Okay. So having clause only be used with after group by, with group by. So after group by means with group by. So once we read with the group by, then we can write with the having clause. Otherwise, we can't. Okay. So the main difference of where clause and having clause is where clause we can write before group by. Having clause we'll write after group by. That is that. Let's look into the syntax of having clause. This is the syntax. So select column 1 and aggregate function column 2 from table name, group by column 1. So here we are applying the column 1, right? So that we can apply with group by having aggregate function. So this aggregate function we are applying with the filter. So aggregate function, and we'll write the condition. Let's look into the one example for having clause. Select customer ID, comma, sum of amount as total amount, comma, here we are not from payment table, from payment group by customer ID. Up to this we know. Okay. So above already I have written this one, this part too. If I execute, I will get the customer ID wise total amount. Now I want to filter after group by. Like after group by means total amount we have to filter. I'm filtering the records after group by. So having better I will write a sum of amount in this one. I'm not sure the alias name is working. Let's try with the this one. Later I will try with the alias name. So greater than 10. So here, if you look into this total amount, this is like single two double digit. So 11, 15, 14, 20. Okay. So now I am applying with the filter called as greater than 10. Okay. If I execute this one, I am getting these values. Okay. This is after summing the amount, I am filtering the records. So same thing I will apply with order by. So order by total amount. Okay. So if you look into this ascending order, if you want descending order, DASC. Okay. Now we'll try alias column. I'm not sure this one having with this one total amount. I execute. Yeah. So this is invalid column name because of this column created, but it is not getting the exact column name. So that's the reason we are using with sum of amount. Okay. Let's execute again. Okay. So this is the way we will get with the having clause. So the main difference between where and having called as where clause is before group by we can apply like normal filter where clause. Okay. After summing the amount or after average the amount, after minimum, after maximum amount, then we can apply with the having clause. Okay. Like here I have mentioned some of the differences between where and having clause. So where clause is mainly filter the rows before any grouping takes place. Okay. Like I mentioned the same point. Use it to filter individual rows based on a condition and cannot be used with aggregation functions directly. So aggregation functions, it is not working where clause. Aggregation functions we can use with having. Next, filter the groups after the aggregation has been performed. So after group by only we can apply the having clause and use it to filter the results of a group by query based on aggregated data. So aggregated data only we can apply and can be used with aggregation functions. Okay. So this is the major differences between where and having clauses. Okay. So finally, in this video, we have covered as uh, what are all covered in this video. First of all, in day 3, aggregation functions covered. After aggregation functions covered as group by. Next, having. Having and what is the major difference between where and having clause. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, please like and subscribe and share. Thank you. Thank you for watching.